Sublime magnificence.
Hey guys, you know who it is, what's going on, when it's happening, where it's at, and why we're here today. How you doing? It is I, the sublimely magnificent Big Ugly himself, Omari Ellis, Deo Grande on YouTube, back with another episode of This Guy Hasn't Seen. And as usual, I am joined by my co-host and runner-mate, one of my best friends in the world, El Director himself, Bill Smith.
Oh, Mari, thank you for having me back as always. It's good to be here. It's good to be doing this thing, passing stuff back and forth, and especially in this month, our favorite month of all months. It is October, and it is spooky time. It is tradition here that in the month of October we try and squeeze in movies that are especially rare to Omari and I in movies in the genre of horror. Um, Now, horror can be a loose term that is applied to many movies on IMDb. And if it's applied to movies on IMDb, then it counts as a horror film. So don't at me in the comments. Um,
Correct.
uh,
Or if it wins an award for being a horror movie for any film I may pick in the future.
Right. Yes. So we had our Beetlejuices, we had our Mortal Kombat uh, movie that had a bunch of demon and under hell stuff in it, and now this week with a film that I have brought to the table. This is a '90s film that I was always super into. This is if you're gonna say this is this is one of my horror movies because I never even really thought of it much as a horror film, but it definitely is
Oh yeah.
a horror film. So we're gonna tackle it today. Omari, I brought to you The Faculty from 1998 when Casey Connor, Harrington High School's newspaper photographer, witnesses the murder of a nurse and sees her alive again. He decides to investigate the bizarre happenings. It's a weird bio for the film, but it is directed by Robert Rodriguez and it is written by David Wechter, Bruce Kimmel, Kevin Williamson, and it stars Jordana Brewster, Clea Duvall, Laura Harris, Elijah Wood. Oh my gosh, so much '90s in it. Josh Hartnett. Um,
That's the motherfucker's name.
we have as far as the staff goes, we have Selma Hayek and Famke Janssen and Christopher McDonald and Bebe Neuwirth
John
and
Stewart.
Robert Patrick and John Stewart. Usher is in this film, ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen.
My first note of the movie was Usher question mark. I knew there were a lot of names, and which because and I'll just touch on it since you just mentioned it there. That was another one of my notes. So many names. As the movie just starts like, oh my god, so many people. Which I had heard about it, but damn.
Kind of a staple of Robert Rodriguez films. He's very good at casting. He has either he is just a very good guy who makes a lot of friends and is and gets a lot of people to work with him that way, or he's just the casting director and the casting team that he has always seems to assemble really good people and sometimes really high level people that play under necessarily their typical role, like
Yeah.
you got you he'll have some big stars doing cameos and things like this. So yeah, big cast beyond before all of that, what were you getting into, what were you thinking?
Um, I knew a couple things. One, it had a lot of people, famous people in it. I may have heard the Robert Patrick part because of the other thing I knew, and that this is one of Fluffles' favorite fucking movies because he talks about it all the time.
Shout out to Fluffles.
Yeah, and he is also a giant Robert Patrick fan because of is one of his favorite movies of all time, Terminator 2, Judgment Day, Robert Patrick.
Hmm.
There you go. Enough said. That said, that's all I knew. I knew it was a horror film called The Faculty. It had a lot of stars, and Fluffles and you loved it because I think Fluffles tried to suggest it for the show, and you're like, I've seen it, and I'm like, oh, okay. But I knew it had a lot of stars, but I turned away from it because, as you mentioned, horror is a rare genre for you and I. More so for myself, by ever so slightly, but it's even more rare for me to watch these horror films. So that's the main thing that kept me from watching it was that horror genre.
Yeah, I don't know what got me to it initially, but there was this film and then there was also Disturbing Behavior. They both came out in 1998 and they are both, not to reveal too much of the faculty, but we both watched it just now. They are both uh high school body snatcher type of horror films,
Okay.
and I owned both of them in some form of media, whether it was the traditional owning of the movie or the classic black spined with the label on it that was recorded off of TV because dad has HBO and just builds a massive library of movie name slash movie name because the tape is 6 hours long and
Yeah. Yeah.
we're not going to waste
Why do
half
people
of a
leave the
tape.
tab in? Take the damn tab out. You get a longer movie. Or no, the tab makes it where you
the
can't record over.
Right, the
That's
tab
right.
makes it permanent. Yeah.
The tab makes it permanent. You got to switch it to like LP or something like that. SP, LP, something else. There was a setting you had to
Yeah, I
pick
think those were on specific tapes. I don't know if your
because it's
basic
like
tape,
2 hours
but
for the SP. Then there
right,
was a
and then there's
four
like
hour,
long
and then there
play.
was a
Yeah.
6 hour. If you
Yeah.
wanted that
It
six
was
hour, you had to do it. But the quality you'd suffer quality, but you get more fucking movie. And when you're on a budget, more fucking space taken up on the tape is right. And then you
right.
pop that tab out so don't nobody record over it.
Right. That'd be the worst thing if you put in a movie thinking that you had a certain movie and then come to find out it was Thursday night prime time on NBC. Brutal, brutal. But anyway, these films might have been one of those. I'm not sure. Um, but I watched them a bunch. I watched them a bunch, and it's because one, they were cool. Two, they had a bunch of cool people in them who were good looking and doing cool, good looking things, and then this one, I don't remember exactly about Disturbing Behavior, but at least in this one, um, you know, boobs.
Yeah,
12, 13-year-old me, or however old I was in 1998. Boobs.
well, that
Not gonna
sounds about right.
not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. So yeah, this movie was watched a bunch.
All
What,
right.
oh, you said why, horror is basically why, but you kind of knew it existed.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Rodriguez, where are you at on him?
I've heard the name. I know he's directed a lot of stuff. I'm getting him mixed up with somebody else in my head when I try to say something. Who was the guy that did the it was Robert something that did the collab with Tarantino where they had the thingy.
Grindhouse.
Yeah.
Yep, he did that. He
Okay,
is
then that's the guy that I'm thinking of.
Yeah, he originally came on
Did
the scene
Machete as well?
with El Mariachi, and then kind of in a way remade El Mariachi, but not really. It's its own standalone movie as well, with a more studio budget called Desperado, and that stars Antonio Banderas and Salma Hayek in her first film.
Mm.
And then he goes on to do a bunch of different things, jumping genres. He created the Spy Kids franchise.
See, I wanted to
Um,
say the Spy Kids guy, but I didn't want to insult the man by being like, yeah, the Spy Kids guy. This
No,
man has
yeah,
done a lot of great things. I don't need to make him the Spy Kids guy. So that's
yep,
why I wanted to try and guess something other than Spy Kids first.
yeah. He did From Dusk Till Dawn. Um, he did the Faculty. Then he did his collab with Tarantino.
Mm-hmm.
Um, let's see, with collaboration with a couple other people, was the guy who brought Sin City to film.
Mm-hmm.
He directed one of, if not multiple, of those vignettes in that first film. So yeah, is a guy that really jumps genres a bunch, but originally came on in that early 90s independent boom, and really, really cool, really interesting filmmaker. I'm always excited to see his stuff just because, like we've talked about it before, choices. Like if somebody's at least making some interesting choices, whether they succeed or fail, at least you're making interesting
You're
choices.
trying.
You're not doing the same fucking movie over and over again and wasting 2 hours of my life. You're making something different and doing something interesting, and that's usually a pretty faithful expectation for a Robert Rodriguez film.
Is he will make a choice.
Yeah.
I like it.
All right, so let's get into it.
All right, so I already talked about my initial react. Oh, sorry, that Usher question mark was my second note. My first note was, "Oh, Offspring, immediate time capsule."
Yeah.
Bow, 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 bow.
It is the late 90s, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I'm like, okay. But yeah, so the synopsis gives us at least a little bit of the movie. For the folks who is your first time, I try not to read those on movies I haven't seen. I like to try to guess things. So I was like, all right, I think I get it. I When they had the teachers complaining at the very beginning, and the principal like, you can't have no budget. The football team's what matters. I'm like, well, given the title, the teachers are clearly the murderers. And they're
Uh,
probably gonna go on a killing spree and kill all the football players and shit because they're taking all their budget.
I'm interested to see that movie. Just like a class warfare
Yeah, like
kind
yeah,
of
the
thing.
teachers got pissed off that they can't get
It's like, yeah,
anything they want.
all the arts and sciences departments
Yeah,
start just like rebelling against
yeah, because the dude
the
was like trying to get the trip to New York. No. Can we get some new books? No. Can we do this? No. We're trying to play guys and dolls. Use the old set, bitch. Oh, okay. We're a football town, damn it. The budget goes to the football team. And then
But
here comes the
she was playing like she didn't exactly like that she was doing it either. She was just like, it's just a matter of fact. Like
yeah,
I tell you what the budget is
and I
because
get
I was
that.
told what the budget is.
I get that, but people who are irrationally driven themselves to murder somebody may not take that detail into account.
Right.
She's just the face of my hatred
Yeah.
as the murderer. But I Robert Patrick shows up. He gets assaulted outside. I'm like, okay, so someone attacked him. That's what really made me think they were going after the football team because you see he gets snuck up on by somebody. And so I'm like, okay, they're going after the football. Wait, here's the coach. Oh, he's being very uncomfortable right now. You look very pretty tonight. I'm like, oh, this is not where this is going. Give me a pencil real quick. Get that man a fucking pencil. Get him out your fucking office. So the pencil scene didn't go exactly where I thought it was going, especially when she thought she was getting help and didn't. And I was like, well, she killed her too. That was funny because in having seen enough tropes in horror movies, I felt like, you know what would be funny if she turns around and attacks her. Oh wait, they're holding the camera on her. She's totally gonna attack her. Attack. I did not, but once they got they found the little thingy just to fast forward a bit, Elijah Wood, geeky kid, weird camera kid, finds a thing in the football field, takes
Yep.
it to John Stewart.
Yep. Once we've established all, he's the very last character to be established, which is interesting
Mhm.
because it feels like it's like 20 minutes into this movie. Like I don't remember that opening, the prologue, if you will,
Lasting so long.
being that meaty. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they went through a long time, long montage of introducing people. That's around when I was like so many names. It was both the actors and the characters. It's just this character, name on screen. This character, name on screen. This character, name on screen. Okay, that's a lot of people. But okay, we got the new kid, Mary Beth Denberg. We got fucking Farusha. No, Firuza. Is it her? Who played Stokely? Is it that girl with the name I can never pronounce?
Oh no, Faruka Balk or whatever
Yeah,
from The Craft. No, that's Clea Duvall. Very, very, very similar of type.
very
She
similar
is
vibe and
she is
typecast.
just she is a 90s staple. It is insane.
That's probably why I get her mixed up with Faruka.
As we were booting up, I was just going through her IMDb, and she had something like 13 films that she was in the span of 3 years, 1998, 1999, and 2000. And the majority of those came, yeah, she had 11 films in 2 years.
That's
That's
how you. That's how
yeah,
you make a mark.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, she was in that. She's
Have you seen Can't Hardly Wait?
no.
Oh, that may be my favorite 90s teen movie of all time. So we're probably gonna check that out almost immediately after spooky season.
Fair. Yeah. But yeah, she was in it. Had a lot of people. But yeah, they find a thing. John Stewart's like, oh, this is a new species. Oh, it reacts to water and it has weird tentacle things. Okay, so this thing infected the teachers. That has to be the case. But why? I'm still not sure what the goal is, but this thing's infected the teacher. And yeah, it was pretty much your typical high school movie early on. I thought it was interesting when well, interesting is the wrong word, but Elijah Wood, Casey, starts meeting up with head cheerleader slash leader of the school newspaper, Delilah,
Yeah.
and they're like snooping around for stuff. Which now that I think about it, he is the weird camera kid. So of course he saw that. He would be of course he'd be involved with that with the school newspaper. He's the weird camera kid. Somebody's got to take pictures. Because at
Uh-huh.
first I'm like, why are they putting him and her? She would never talk to him. And then he started being like creepy too, because they like sneak into the closet because the teachers are coming, and he's like sniffing her hair and shit. And I'm like, Casey, don't sniff her hair,
Right.
damn it.
God.
That's definitely gonna turn her away from you. It's already unrealistic that she's tolerating you. You're the weird camera kid, and she's head cheerleader, and you're sniffing her hair. You were just starting to win her over with charm by calling her a grade A bitch on some no man talks to me that way. I want you type shit. That's a trope. I'm not saying that's how women actually like act. That's a fucking trope, and that's all I'm acknowledging it as. Damn. Uh Bottom line is
Literally nobody was talking.
it's for the
Literally
it's
no
for the
one.
commenters.
We've gotten 12 comments in 2 years, and they're all Ibid.
Not all
Nobody was
Ibid.
talking to you. um
But
no,
yeah, we get the nurse coming in, Selma Hayek. She
yeah.
gets assaulted, and I'm like, immediately when they first tried to tell somebody and it wasn't going right. Oh, creepy mo! How can I go there with skip it over the creepy moment in the shower with the lady with the water? Like, give
Oh,
me
oh,
water.
that's one of the worst moments in the movie.
Yeah. So that was crazy.
With the
Mean,
scalp.
yeah, the
Ugh.
scalp coming off. God.
Ah.
Yeah. And they
See,
find
this is
her
what we're
body.
talking about. This is like, this is why we don't watch horror films, guys. Because if you know this movie and you know general horror films, like that is like for us. And there's so many films that go so much worse than that.
Yeah.
But before this film starts to get really alien, that's kind of the worst. That's
That's like
really
the
the
worst thing for real.
yeah.
Yeah. People got stabbed, but you expect that out of a horror movie. But yeah, the thing comes off, and yeah, but she's dead in the closet, and they see them attack another teacher. The second they run off into that hall and try to get somebody, I already know the motherfucker's gonna be alive, especially when they run into the principal. And my next note was, I hate this shit because I really do. I hate this trope. I understand it's meant to be hated because you need to empathize and catharsize with these characters. You want to be just as frustrated that nobody believes them when the real truth happened. I
Yeah.
just hate when that happens because I'm a very empathetic and cathartic person, believe it or not. So, especially when it comes to moments of embarrassment, I am just like right embarrassed with them. That, and I was also mad at him. One, because he called the cops when he had no proof. Two, he's the weird camera kid. Take a fucking picture. You're the weird camera kid. That's your thing. People beat you up and slam your nuts into flagpoles because you're the weird camera kid. Take a fucking picture. Have some proof.
I guess I would argue he's running for his life.
In the closet. Not figuratively, but literally. Oh shit, an attack. Oh shit, a dead body.
I mean, I don't know if that's how a closet grate would work. I don't know. I don't
Okay,
know.
the dead body's in the closet with them. Oh shit, a dead body. Like, take
Well, you're
some
trying to
kind of
hide.
picture.
You're trying to
Don't
hide
yell all
from the
shit.
murderer. Well,
I
you would need a
understand.
flash. You would need a
I
flash in the
understand,
closet. I'm
but
just trying to talk through your logic here on how they could have done it differently. Like,
what
you
do you
would need
mean?
a flash in the closet that would bring attention to you. In that moment, they're trying to hide. Once they do have their attention, they're no longer killing Selma Hayek, and the
Yeah,
only picture he could obtain is just a picture of the coach going like
yeah.
while he's trying to attack him, which would just be like, look what he was doing, and then the coach would be like, yeah, he was hiding in the closet. uh
Fair, but
but no, I get it. I'm also very frustrated. And then the parents after that,
oh
who
my god.
and then the scene at his house is extra like, but then you also have to look at it from the other perspective of like, my son is saying that aliens are taking over his school,
He didn't even
and
say aliens yet. He just said the teachers attacked another teacher. He wasn't
right,
even at
they
aliens yet.
yeah.
And, and it's one thing to be like, okay, you're lying, but then they're talking about, which is another trope I understand, when you have the youth that's acting differently. I need to get you some help and some therapy. That stereotypical mom thing. We will fix you. We'll
The
get
thing
you
that I
help.
don't
Oh,
the
yes.
thing that
I've been
annoys me,
perfectly sane for the past 15 years of my life. One day, one incident, and suddenly I need therapy. Fuck out my face.
the thing that like I'm fine with everything that that we've talked about so far. The thing that I butt up against is that neither the head of the newspaper or her ex-boyfriend are contacted by Elijah Wood during the wait of contacting the like, I need to contact the police, and then I should also have those two people here to be here because they'll say the exact same story that I said. Like, she
Mm.
was here through all of the running around of the of us in the faculty lounge, and
And
then he
dude
will,
saw her take her
yeah,
scalp
and then he
off.
will corroborate that something was fucking happening with that old lady, and then they won't be able to provide a body. They will be able to say where she is. That's the part where I'm like, if you're gonna start poking logic holes, like that's the part where I'm like, why do you wait until your dad is ripping apart your room to be like, well, how about we call the other person who saw everything I saw? Like, I'm like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, you haven't brought her up until now?
that also
The
frustrates me.
cops.
It also took him a bit longer to at least suspect his quote unquote new species he had found, considering, hey, this thing clearly shows the one thing we know about it, aside from it's weird, is that it has a weird reaction to that it goes crazy when it gets in water and really comes alive when there's water. And then I immediately, while I still have my weird camera, see the coach. Oh, not only while I have my camera, but I saw the lady go into the shower and go, I need water to breathe. I can't breathe. I need water. Get in my way. Let me take off my scalp. The next thing you see is the fucking coach standing in the football field, soaking in water and relishing it. And you don't find that at least suspicious? You took the photo when you guys started being like, hey, there's some bigger thing. You don't want to be like, wait, water, water, water. Think something's up with the coach, too? Think it has something to do with that new species I found?
Yeah.
Anyway,
My wife yelled at the TV at some point of like, what about the thing? What about the thing in science class?
that was weird. You literally say we discovered a new species. Where did it get teeth? Type shit. Literal line. Not the type shit part, but where did it get teeth? You asked it. You noticed that something was weird with the thingy because it randomly grew teeth. Oh, okay, I don't need to get mad. It's a good movie. I'm getting upset for no reason. Okay, for no reason. But yeah,
Logicals. There's logicals in these things.
yeah, but it's a fucking horror movie. It's gonna have logic. But yeah, I noticed the love square that was forming between, you know, football guy Sam, Delilah. They were having issues with their relationship because he wanted to quit the football team. One of those, I got it all. What if I didn't type shit. Yep. And she's like a bitch, a grade A bitch, if you ask Elijah Wood. He had a lot more adjectives, but I remember the grade A bitch part. Then you had there's Elijah Wood and another one. Who was dude trying to get with? Oh,
The new
fucking
girl.
no. Zeke was getting with the new girl.
Right.
90s girl. We just mentioned her name. I forget her character's name. The girl that was in all the 90s films. The one that looks like Veruca.
Stokely was going after
Stokely was going after Sam. Yeah, Stan. Yeah. Stokely was going after Stan. And so I'm like, oh, this love square is going to complicate things when everything goes down the line. I was wrong. But I thought it was. It's going to be like, oh, yeah, why should I believe you? You're trying to bone the other person type shit, which it did come up, but not really. They didn't focus on it, which is a good thing.
We had that scene where they all, where you kind of have in every body snatcher film of like,
what about you? What
the
about
guns
you?
pointed in a circle with each other, standoff, and they come up with the solution that Zeke's drug that he sells out of the trunk of his car in the parking lot of the school. His drug is a diuretic. It makes you really dehydrated. And with these creatures being obsessed with water, they really, really do not like this drug. So everybody has to do the drug in order to prove that they're not an alien in this little ragtag group that we've managed to assemble.
Because we're the only people not infected in the school at this point. And they eventually do kind of. Not only did he make the drug, he had his own science lab, and he's secretly smarter than everybody. He is, in his own words, a contradiction. And that's Josh Hartnett, right? Because you said the name and immediately like, that's the motherfucker's name. That motherfucker is. I don't think I've ever seen him not be the cool guy in something. Which I mean,
he's a very cool guy.
Yeah, he's a cool dude. And even in this movie, I'm like, I want to hate you because you're everything I hated in school, but I can't because you are cool. At the same time, the criminal aspect is why I never would have been able to do it. The whole selling drugs out the car. Like I would want it to be that cool, but without the stuff. I was more of a Elijah Wood. I just didn't have a fucking camera. I wasn't sniffing hair.
while we're on him, I feel like we should just kind of switch to standout moments. We're almost getting into just doing the plot
Oh
again.
well, we skipped ahead.
Well, I know, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, um, I don't like. I overall like this film, but there are weak points in it that I am seeing, and one I would say is I don't really vibe with the whole him Famke Johnson subplot throughout the film.
Famke
The
being Mary Beth Denberg.
no, Famke Johnson is Jean Grey. Uh,
Oh, the teacher.
yeah, yeah,
Okay,
the
yeah, that's
timid.
who she is. Okay, I'm like, where have I seen this actress?
Come on, Amari, it's Jean Grey.
I saw the actress. I knew I recognized her, but yeah,
She's also in some. She's also in a James Bond
yeah,
film.
she's in a lot of stuff. But there are other actresses of similar looks that are also in a lot of stuff. I'll put it that way.
um, but yeah, their thing that they keep calling back to, it's and also in this day and age, it's just the whole teacher student thing is weird, and that's kind of all that their scenes are built on, is like, hey, look, we're two really attractive people who have sexual tension. uh uh it's
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 okay though.
just
He's repeating his senior year, meaning
so
he's an
so
adult.
yeah, he's above age.
Yeah, it's fine. He's repeating his senior year. That said, I agree with you. It was weird.
Yeah,
It was
even
fine
if
at
that part of it,
first.
it's not uncomfortable. It's just
Yeah.
like I don't really need these scenes.
Yeah. At first, it was whatever because it was just the teacher, like, please stop selling your shit. Then when she started hitting on him once she got possessed, I'm like, okay, well, she's possessed. This is still creepy, but she's possessed, so whatever. But then afterwards,
Yeah, and
where
then
they
in the
still
yeah,
get together, I'm like, oh, like that. You're back to being sane, woman. No.
yeah, it's odd. It's odd. What other standout moments do you
I
have?
mean, there's the we got everybody there's you mentioned the standoff scene where everybody's doing the drugs and stuff, and
Yep.
what's her name saying she's allergic to his medicine,
Hmm.
which should be a clear sign that she's at least somewhat
She doesn't
infected.
even know what it is. She doesn't even fucking know what's in it, and she's like, "I'm allergic. I'm allergic." He's already admitted that it's mostly caffeine pills. Like, so you're not. We know you're not allergic to that. You're not allergic to caffeine. Shut up, bitch.
Yeah, like you're allergic to caffeine. What? Just snort it.
Yeah, she said earlier in the film that she was allergic to aspirin, so she would probably be allergic to.
Aspirin. I thought she
Uh,
said acid. I'm like, it's
uh.
wild. It's crazy. You just assumed it was acid. I didn't think acid was a powder. Never done acid, but I didn't think it was a powder.
I have to shout out uh my wife from this moment, who really enjoyed the insult tit bags.
Tit bags. I have tit bags with a question mark. I'm like, tit bags.
I'm glad you spotted it as well.
I'm like, tit bags? I haven't heard tit bags before, but fair enough. Sorry. But
Um
yeah. That I saw that. There was I did like the way they eventually like had the guns out and stuff. She even when she did fake snort it or whatever, her getting tweaking like everybody else was also kind of just damn, you don't even emote that much when you tweaking,
mhm.
girl. Well, I guess they want to cut some time, maybe, but you suspicious. But you did just snort that. But you suspicious. But yeah, they go to the school. You got the football game. Love the football game with everybody being possessed and just beating the shit out of the other teams.
Yeah. Yeah. And body snatching them at the same time.
Yeah, tackle, shove. But yeah, when they decide they're gonna kill the principal, that's a moment of dramatic irony where the audience knowing something the characters don't. We know she can't be the queen because we
Right.
saw the coach attack her.
Yep.
My head started to go to the coach, but then I remembered the coach got attacked by somebody. And you get the whole parking lot chase with the decoy scene, the bus scene. Delilah like, let's do it, geeky kid. And I'm like, see, that's exactly how you should have known she was possessed. She showed interest in you. But the bottom line is, um, yeah, he escapes. He gets back to the gym, and while they do all of that, that was a cool scene. But when they cut back to the gym, and what's her name's asking her all these questions about how the body snatcher grew things, and she's like, but who's to say it's a bad thing? Damn it, it was you. You are the queen. Who's to say it's a bad thing? And then sure enough, that's what it leads up to. And Casey comes in. Oh shit, let's run. And they run into the room with a giant pool. We know. We know they are powered up by water at this point. They replicate with water. In fact, that's the first fucking thing we learned about these things. I did think that what's her name would be dead. That Stokely would be dead when she fell and got in the water. But when she came out and she lived, but her head was bleeding, I'm like, she's probably infected. Hence the blood thing, because when they killed the nurse earlier, you saw the bloody ear from the infection. So I'm like, she's probably infected. Clear enough, she was. So, yeah. I do love Zeke, like, as a character in this film, like him somehow being the guy that does kind of like lead through, stuff.
Yeah.
I did like though that I was scared when he got thrown over the thing and his head was bleeding. I was scared that he was infected now. I'm like, God damn, we even lost Zeke. All right, Connor, it's up to you. But yeah, we get the big like, she's chasing him through the gym and he traps her in the bleachers, does the one-liner, guaranteed to jack you up. It's a callback.
Had to do the one-liner.
It's a callback to Zeke's line about his
because
drug.
he's cool.
Yeah, it's a callback to Zeke's line about his drug. But yeah,
I want to be like Zeke.
exactly. I thought that she would move one last time as a jump scare. Like once he calmed down, like you wouldn't like it here anyway. Oh, didn't die, but no, she died. However, we did get our last jump scare when he's like with Stokely. Stokely, wake up! And then dude on the cage. Did we do it?
Bro, come on now.
And then yeah, we get to the end. We see what's his name, Zeke's on the team now. It cuts to Stam and Stokely on the sideline. And they're like, she's like, are you sad? Are you mad that you gave up the football thing? Of course not, make out. I'm like, you could have been a quarterback and still had the girlfriend. That like, you could have had both.
And still focused on your grades.
And still focused on your grades. Yeah, like I said, he had a case of the I don't know what to call it. I tried to think of a character that does this that I could associate with the trope, but I'll just say rich bitch syndrome. I've been poor, I've been rich, and everything's been given to me my whole life. What would it be like to be poor?
Hey man, he didn't wanna play football.
No,
Just
he
because you got
didn't.
a big dick doesn't mean you have to do porn.
It's not about he was fine with the football. He was fine. He didn't like being treated better because he was good at football. He wanted to be a D student and get the D's on his grades and be recognized as a football player who's also stupid, damn it. You don't have to tell me I'm smart just because I'm a football player. Anyway, the have-alls that wish they were have-nots. Grass is always greener type shit. You could have had the green grass, the high tides forever. You could have had everything. Bottom line is, it then cuts to Delilah. I'm like, wait, Delilah lived? I'm like, I guess she did. He did just run away. Oh, wait, and she's dating Casey? Well, that's the most unrealistic thing in this movie. Outside of the aliens, of course. I'm sorry. The geek gets the
Well,
hot
he's
the
famous now, Amari. He's famous.
well now, yeah, he did Lord of the Rings. But
Well,
he's
no, I'm saying he's famous. Like no, I don't think that
also was
relationship's
sniffing
gonna
your
last.
hair a day
But
ago.
are you really surprised that the popular cheerleader that recently lost her boyfriend snags up the now recently famous on the cover of Time magazine a fellow student who she knows she would absolutely get in a heartbeat and would also worship the ground that she walks on? Are you really that surprised that that head of the cheerleader would do that?
I guess if you
She's
mentioned I guess
she's hunting the fame.
with the
Yeah.
come up, sure. Anything if he wasn't
I
on the
don't think
ties,
that
they
kiss is like a genuine, beautiful relationship.
yeah,
That's not how I'm seeing it.
because
I'm
that's
seeing
one of
it as
my
like, oh, well, he gets to make out with the head cheerleader for a little while before
yeah.
he goes away to college because that's
Yeah.
not lasting.
Yeah, I understand. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't knock any movie that has these tropes in them. It is what it is. They're just some of my least favorite tropes. It's the geek gets the girl, but you mentioned a good point about the Time magazine thing. And it's the hot person that doesn't think they're hot. I, that's not how it works. When you're hot, you know it because everybody fucking tells you constantly. I've seen it as someone who's been surrounded by hot people in his life, or people at least who were hotter than him, because they'll come to me and tell me how hot that person is while also feigning over them.
Did we even have one of those in this movie?
No, but I'm saying tropes. Tropes. The geek gets the girl and that one. Just making it known.
He's making it known,
Like the, what
folks.
was it? She's all that.
Yeah.
That's around the same
The
time.
the
Same.
classic the classic
Yeah.
take
That,
off
that,
your glasses and pull out your ponytail and suddenly like, oh my god,
bitch, you knew
she's
you were hot.
beautiful.
You knew you were hot. And the same thing goes for dudes that have the reverse. I'm not being sexist here. If you're attractive, people know you're attractive. People will let you know you're attractive because you got to beat them off with a stick.
That's what was always great about Christopher Reeve's Superman slash Clark Kent is like it wasn't just, oh, he puts on some glasses and then he's Clark Kent. Like he transformed his person. He became, even though he's a gigantic, subjective, objectively handsome man, he becomes a geeky, like I don't know. Christopher
He
Reeves
tries to
is the
put on
only
a
person
persona.
who's ever done it.
Yeah. But even
Well.
then, he's doing it on purpose, Bill.
Yeah, that's what he thinks. That's what he thinks the human race is. Are these sniveling little clumsy fools?
Yeah, yeah, he's doing it on purpose. So even still, he's not the ugly person or the hot person who thinks they're unattractive. He's the hot person who, so he gets less attention, forces himself to look less attractive. But that's Superman. This was the faculty, and I liked it. Did you have any other things you wanted to talk about or mention any points in the movie?
No, yeah, I enjoyed it as well. I don't think it's immensely great for the volume of times I viewed it as a child. Um, I think this is one of those that would kind of slowly degrade over time. Like
Mm-hmm.
each time you watch it, it's gonna like I
Lose
wouldn't
some of its
necessarily,
efficacy.
yeah, I wouldn't necessarily put it in like a like I've got to watch this every October now kind of film. Which I
Yeah.
don't know. I can't even really speak to if I have any of those like I have Christmas movies. I'm sure several of our viewers would have those films that like I gotta watch this every time around Halloween kind of thing.
I mean, didn't
Uh
last year you say The Craft was one for your wife? That's or is that just every once in a while?
that's it. That's just a like, yeah, that's one of those
Okay,
in her life that's like every 3 years it kind of ends up getting played. I
gotcha.
would say if anything, it's probably Hocus Pocus. It probably gets played almost every Halloween. If
That's
not,
fair.
it skips very rarely. But yeah, anyway, I feel like each time I were to put this on throughout my life, it's going to get a little less. But still very, very enjoyable watch.
Oh yeah, very enjoyable watch indeed. Graphics are a bit dated, but what graphics aren't these days? But I liked it overall. I enjoyed it thoroughly, if you will. It had
Perfect.
some had some moments, but we touched on them.
So,
Yeah.
so for next week, I think what we've talked about is I'm gonna double up here and do another suggestion because we're cooking on a nice big special guest for our Halloween week episode.
Yeah.
Um, so we're gonna delay on that for a little bit, and I'm gonna double up and throw in another suggestion. The film Omari that oh what
No, sorry, you good.
oh okay the film that I almost picked last week, and again we're not exactly horror buffs, but I would like to consider this a horror film. We are gonna go with Tremors.
Tremors with the worms. That's all I know. Is that there are
Tremors
worms.
with the worms.
Yeah. All right. That sounds good to
Tremors
me.
one. There's a bunch of Tremors. It's the first Tremors.
As long as that's the only one that's just named Tremors, should be good.
I believe so. 1990.
All right. So yes, 1990s Tremors. If you want to catch us talk about other stuff, you can go ahead and catch that and check it out on the channel. You can also catch us out on Mondays occasionally with a show called Not Draft. Draft some things. Wrestling, Looney Tunes, who knows? We drafted. Tuesdays, we got this show. Wednesdays, I got a show with a good friend of mine, good friend of the show, Super Jazz.
Super Jazz.
Thank you very much. Snakes
Jazz,
intended.
Jazz.
We talk about just that, whatever we want. And on Saturdays, Bill and I have a show called You Don't Watch Sports. It's two guys, three topics, help you sprinkle a little information into your sports conversation to be your guiding light through the sea that is sports talk. And yeah, that's what I got there. Bill, you got anything else you want to say to the folks?
No.
All right. Well, everybody, thank you very much. You can also catch me on Geotology, whatever. Check it out later. See ya. Adiosness.